I don't have a film also. I come to Cannes to catch up on movies.
Right.
This is my annual pilgrimage of just wanting to watch movies. And this is the best place to watch movies.
Hi everyone, this is Silas from AsianCultureVulture.com. We're here at the Cannes Film Festival 2023 and we're with the brilliant talent behind the film Kennedy, which has a midnight screening a bit later on here in Cannes. And I'm with Anurag Kashyap, the writer-director, and Rahul Bhat, who plays Kennedy. Welcome to AsianCultureVulture.com. How are you feeling?
Anxious.
Is that because of the red carpet tonight?
No, it's because it's the first time I have a film screening at the Grand Theatre Lumiere. So I've been here many times, but Grand Theatre Lumiere is overwhelming, and it's like,
well,
it gives a lot of anxiety.
People, you walk the red carpet, it's a full cast and crew,
For me, more than the red carpet is when the film gets over.
What will happen then?
What will happen? Does it translate to people? Does it reach out?
I think they'll react with great warmth because it's a beautiful film. I think it's a great arc, and I think the composition is brilliant. And I want to come to how you came to. You said you had the character in your head for a while. How did that start?
I had the character in the head for a very long time. I literally stole it from a filmmaker, mentor, the original maverick of Indian cinema, Sudhir Mishra. In 2003, he had hired me to write a script for him. And he had talked to me about this character, which was a real character from the 80s.
Right.
And he told me
based on a real cop.
Based on a real cop. Right. And these stories that he told me of, I was totally fascinated by it. That film never took off. It didn't happen. The character stayed with me. And so it again got triggered by an incident that happened in the lockdown. And I suddenly thought that what if I take that character and put him in the lockdown and the pandemic, and a fictional story was born out of a real incident. And after writing it, I took permission from Sudhir. Because before writing, it would have been different.
Right, so you just wrote it and then...
I wrote it, I said, listen, I'm stealing your character. The film is also dedicated to me. He's been a mentor of sorts to me in the beginning of my career and everything. He's come all the way to see the premiere. So.
Absolutely. And did you always have Rahul Bhat in mind to play Kennedy?
He's my always go-to person. I actually had somebody else in mind. But I waited for the response for that person. The person responded 8 months late. But by then, after waiting when there was no initial response, so I moved on to Rahul. And he just jumped at it and he started preparing. By the time I got the response from the other actor, was in December, January. By then he was already prepped and ready, and we were ready to go into the shoot.
And what was it about Kennedy that appealed? How did you find your way into the character?
I always take Anurag's, he is my guide in everything. He just guides me. He says what to do and I trust him and I just follow.
He actually worked hard, like tiny things. Like the opening shot of the film, when he's peeling an apple. I think he must have peeled some 300 apples before he got to that
more
shot.
Than that.
Right. More than that.
Yeah.
So he practiced every single thing physically because we didn't want to use any special effects.
Right. And there was shot the blindfolded with the gun opening and
something like with a blindfold he had to learn how to work with a weapon.
Okay.
And all those things he actually practiced. That he gave 8 months for the preparation of the role.
And I think you look a lot bigger in the film.
Yeah, I'm almost 90 kgs in the film.
Yeah, he put on a lot of muscles for the film because his natural tendency is to not be like that.
Yeah.
So he has to work really hard to bulk up.
And that character is a high body count.
Yeah, it's a very high body count. Yeah.
And he looks intimidating. He has an intimidating presence. Obviously, that's part of the whole.
And personally, he's not at all intimidating.
I don't know that.
Look at him smiling all the time.
No, I know. You can't equate the guy sitting here with the guy who's in the film.
Yeah.
Partly because physically it's very different.
You can see the kind of performances that I think I've done 3 films with him. And it's a massive range from Ugly to Dobara to this one. And when he starts acting, he's another human being. Right. The moment the camera is off, he's just one of the boys.
That's great. So Kennedy's journey is really interesting, and the whole movie is really centered around his psychological profile. I don't know. How would you describe him to people who haven't seen the movie?
It is a character piece. We arrived at the film. I had a very long 3.5 hour lineup of the film, and we started to eliminate stuff because it had to be a mood piece and character piece. So everything that was taking away from the character, we started eliminating that, and that's generally the process of the film. And his performance is what held it together. It's his performance that keeps the film together. It's literally a character performance-driven film. It's a very good mood piece.
And Rahul, for you, what was the hardest thing about Kennedy when you slip into that kind of character who is very, at one level, quite amoral?
Yeah, actually, initially I could not deal with the kind of Kennedy. I feel is a very depressed guy. He's really, and he's very dumb also because he just kills people on drop of a hat. There's no reason for doing, killing.
Yeah, he's like a robot. He's a low IQ, technically very skilled.
Right.
But doesn't come across like that.
Manic depressive.
Yeah.
But all those things are there.
There, right.
And also being so bulky and yet, invisible, his
Yeah.
walk, the stare, the calmness of a big, huge man.
Yeah.
Those were very difficult things, actually.
Yeah, and the name Kennedy, was that something
That
very
also came from
deliberate?
No, that's by chance. That also
Right.
came from the first choice of the actor. His real name is Kennedy.
Oh, I see.
So it was just on the file. It was written Kennedy, and just stuck. Everybody started calling it Kennedy, so it became
It's a
Kennedy.
kind of alias. I mean, he doesn't exist in a sense, and so he has to have
in the
it.
film also it's an
So
alias.
it works for the kind of
It kind of became a commentary because after the film was called Kennedy, so a lot of kind of metaphorical things started coming in, and everybody started adding their own things because my costume designer, like if you see the first jacket he pulls out, the sleeves inside is the American flag.
Yeah.
He started doing all
Small
those things.
little
It
things
became
like
a
that.
commentary of the whole US thing vis-a-vis.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's crazy. A lot of things I think, a lot of things happened organically after that.
Okay. So I have to ask you, and I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but I think for a kind of, for us in the context of the film, the violence, how do you respond to questions about criticism of there's too much killing, it's very
I don't know,
sadistic?
in this film there has not been that much criticism. But I don't know, but the film was about the violence in the man, and we didn't want to focus on the impact of violence as much as seeing this man very mechanically going through things.
Yeah.
There's absolutely zero morality, no empathy towards it. He's actually a psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't have a problem with that sort of violence.
No,
because
he's
it's-
actually a psychopath, and in the sense, the film the violence in the film, the problem is, see, in normally an action movie, it's a good versus evil fight. Here, there's a man who's just unnecessarily killing people who have not done anything to deserve it.
No.
Who just happen to be around.
The point you're kind of making, in a way, is that some police officers could quite possibly.
The point one is trying to make is that if you just talk about the number of people who, during the pandemic or anywhere else, with nothing, for no reason, a number of people who lost their life in the hands of the system for doing nothing, absolutely nothing, for maybe just having an opinion. A lot of things. So he's all kinds of representations of authority.
Yeah, absolutely.
That works like a ghost in the system, which is not official.
No, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And you were shooting in lockdown?
No. We shot after the lockdown.
Okay.
But it limited our shooting hours.
Right.
So when we had to shoot on the streets, we had to shoot between midnight to 4. 4 hours we'll shoot on the streets.
Yeah.
And then we'll go indoors and shoot.
Yeah.
So we had to find empty. Yeah, it was crazy shoot. It was a crazy, intense.
I think we have not wasted even 1 minute in the shoot, I feel.
Yeah.
It was a really crazy shoot, but really a lot of hard work. And we were shooting, on the
And we
streets of Mumbai.
had budget constraints, and yet we had very, really high-end, expensive locations and cars and things. And
Yeah.
so it was every penny had to count for. Every penny had to be 4 times. It doesn't look like a low budget film. Every penny was imagine worth 4 times its value. So we had to work like that.
So what does it mean to bring it to Cannes, have it in the official selection, a midnight screening? This is a
It's
massive...
amazing. This is somehow, when we were shooting it, I was always feeling this film will play. We wanted midnight.
Yeah, you said that.
I always wanted to play at midnight, because I generally I see it as a genre piece, midnight film. And when we were selected, and we found out only 11 hours before the announcement, and that was crazy, and we were far from finished. And last 1 month was, I think we were the last one to deliver the DCP. Last 1 month was very crazy trying to finish the film.
And you've had so many films here, as you're saying, 14. What is
in
it?
various roles. As
Yeah, in
producer,
various,
as
yes,
director,
yes.
yeah.
We know, I last spoke to you, I think, with Raman Raghav. So since then, and all the movies you've had here, what is it about Cannes that brings you back? What is it they see in you?
When I don't have a film also, I come to Cannes to catch up on movies.
Right.
This is my annual pilgrimage of just wanting to watch movies. And this is the best place to watch movies. There are very few festivals. In the sense, Cannes is actually difficult to find movies to watch because there's so many people. But I think sometimes I use my privilege.
Right.
But yeah.
So you become like Anurag Kashyap, the cineast who wants to watch 19 films.
So many
I watch
movies.
a lot of movies.
Do you do the same?
Yeah, I love to watch movies, but here I have been doing interviews and soaking the sun and being the Kennedy.
That's it, yeah. Obviously people have different priorities when they come, and everybody has their own little personal cans and the wider experience. But like working together, you two, you want to continue to work together? Or is there something you're working
We will. I think whenever the time comes, it comes. One thing I especially love about him is his egolessness of,
Right.
it doesn't bother him, as if I'll say that, I wrote it for someone else, but I'm not getting him, so will you do it?
Yeah.
And he's like,
I'm
give it
saying
to
don't get it.
and
Don't get anyone.
And his reaction is, I want to go and hug that guy for not doing it, for not responding.
Although I really respect him, he's a great actor.
He's a great actor, yeah.
He's a superb actor, but
But it was just a miscommunication, and it was 8 months of sending messages to the wrong number.
thank God.
And then, what about Sunny Leone? That was
I find her extremely fascinating, underutilized, underrated person, human being. She's such a superior human being. She's great in the film because she gives it all. She works really hard, extremely professional. And in person, I've not seen her films, but I saw 2 interviews of her, and I was literally like, wow, what a woman.
Well, I interviewed her yesterday, and I had
there was one interview.
Disarmingly unassuming.
That interview with Bhupendra Chaubey that I saw, where she took it to task. He was so judgmental and everything, and the way she handled him and gave it, looking into his eyes, I was just floored. I was I want to meet her, but my whole thing also was, since I had not seen her act, if she will audition. And she not just came for the audition, she gave it everything. So for me, why not?
But actually, we all knew that she was going to do it.
And she looks splendid on the
she
screen.
told me the story that you all had
we knew.
auditioned and you'd already given it, but
She's amazing on screen.
Amazing on screen.
Her screen presence is superb. It's beautiful.
do you want to make more kind of cop? Is that something? Oh, you're done now with this
No,
one?
I keep trying to do new things. Every time I try something that I've not done before, everybody writes my obituary. So
He had already written before this film.
for every film, I'm like, oh, dead and gone. So then I'll be like, okay, I'll keep trying new things, and then I'll keep coming back to my genre.
Is there something that's brewing in your head or something?
I have
you've got on
loads
paper?
of scripts. I write all the time, so I have lots of things written. So whatever gets funded first, I make that.
Well, it was great spending a little bit of time with you
you.
both.
Thank you
getting
so
more
much.
about
Thank
the film.
you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you.
Thank you.